learning and sharing and, you know, giving it out all. Thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good day. Don't know when you're listening. If it is recorded, we welcome you always to come onto our live show. And this is Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. I hope to always bring the talk subjects and that we always engage in that conversation. That's why it's Evadyne with Company, because you are the company. You are the company. I want to continue our conversation. I want to continue from last week. We talked about health and wellness. It was family first, so we spoke about family health. And we talked on women, we talked on men's health, and I touched a little bit on children's health, but not a whole lot. And so I want to talk about that today, and we'll go back to some men, women, health issues, health concerns, health uplifting, which is very important, because it's all about sharing information and educating one another, because we've crossed a path, or we know someone else who has crossed a path, and because we're all human living under this current sun, at any point in time, what others experience, we can experience also, or someone we know. So information that we receive is not always for us specifically, but it could be for us to share when the time is right. I'm sure you've heard that before, right? When the time is right. So you gather it and you store it, and when it's time to use it, you use it. And again, that will include sharing it. It's very important. So wonderfully, in our second half of the show, we are going to have a special guest, and I look forward to this conversation with this young lady, and I think you will too. And remember, if you're listening live, you can always visit NetworkingForSuccss.info, which is my website. You could also visit my YouTube at youtube.com/@Evadyne Smith 3986. You could always visit the YouTube and without a doubt watch my podcast, watch my previous. Before podcasting, I've been talking all my life, just for the record. But I started recording my talks in, I believe, in 2008. I went into the studio and recorded a CD. It was my commitment. You know, you make certain commitments to yourself, some of us, where we want to accomplish a few things by the time we reach a certain area in our lives. And so that's what I did. I wanted to go to record in the studio by the time I reached a certain age. And I did. I went into the studio on my birthday by the time I reached a certain age, March 19th, 2008. And I recorded a full-length CD talking about very important issues. But those are the things that you can find on the YouTube. I was actually very interested in hearing what people had to say about me as well. So I arranged a roast. And it turned out to be me talking to me. I had two people come on. One person came on as a guest for the roast, and another person came on because we had a scheduled appointment for 9 o'clock. And because I started at 6, I figured I'd be, I'm laughing, but I figured I'd be finished by the time I scheduled that 9 o'clock appointment separate. But guess what? when that person called me at 9 o'clock, I was still talking to myself. And it was nice, though. I get a kick out of talking to myself. I call it me talking to me with you in mind. Because what they say, one monkey don't stop a show. So as long as I show up, I'm good. I'm really good. So we should make commitments. We should make promises. We should have a passion that will allow us to see ourselves fulfill the things that we promise to do for ourselves, and sometimes for others, So I'd like to, again, just begin the conversation, but prepare you for Sister Jinaki Amunet. Jinaki Amunet, and again, she is the founder of the Blue Lotus tribe. She's a practitioner of Gong, and she's a Kemetic yoga instructor. With all of that, she's also a holistic homeschool educator of academics and cultural enlightenment. So it's going to be very nice listening to her share her knowledge, her direction. You'll be able to question and answer her. It'll be really good. And again, that will be in the second half. But let's talk about the children and children's health. Little do we know, children are the little us. They are the little us's. And we have to remember that. I think it's important to remember that we are little people's big people. We are their protectors. We are to guide them, and we are to understand them. But as we live, we can also learn that we can learn from them. So when we talk about health with children, it starts from the creation of that child, from the creation. And when we are carrying our babies, our loved ones, the ones that we are going to be with all of our lives, their health in the future is determined by what we do in the present. And not just the moms who are carrying, but the dads also who help to create and make the baby. There's a lot of responsibility on the women. A lot of responsibility is given, is assumed, is projected to the women because they're carrying the baby. They're carrying the fetus. But anything and every one that mother is engaged with is affecting the development of that child. So, because that's the case, we have to be mindful of the things that we do. Now, I think I did touch on this in the part 1, which I didn't know was going to be a part 1, by the way. If I knew it was going to be a part 1, then I would have said that last week, that stay tuned for part 2. But when it comes to talking about health and wellness, I think we can have part 1999, because we're constantly in that phase of living and determining how to best live and how to best breathe. So when the mom is carrying the baby, when I say everything that comes in contact with that mom affects the development of that child, is because, as a simple example, if the mother is upset, her chemistry changes. Well, her chemistry is part of what's being fed to the baby. If she is frightened, startled, if she is sad, if she is happy and excited, that chemistry is transferred to the baby. When it comes to the father, who hopefully is the partner, so as an example of how important this part is, when children brains are forming, it's in the first trimester of the pregnancy. Guess what? You don't even know you're pregnant. You don't even know you're pregnant. So during that time, you could very well be still engaging in things that you may not want to engage in once you know you're pregnant. Once you know you're pregnant, right? You don't know, so you might still be hanging out a little bit, doing a little bit of drinking, a little bit of smoking, of whatever, because you don't know you are now in possession of the future. But then, guess what? The dad is doing some of the same things. Early on, the dad is doing some of the same things. And that's minimal. That's minimal for the drinking and the smoking. And it could be all social. I'm not downing any of that play. But the parents are still engaged in physical night activity or day, whatever makes them happy. And the body fluids carry that play stuff into the body and into the baby. Those body fluids are carrying those habits and those choices. So the baby is being affected by the chemicals that are now coming in. So they're affected by chemistry on all levels. Chemistry on all levels. Chemistry of the feelings of the mom during the time that she's carrying the fetus, the little one, the future, as well as what's coming into the mom. Okay, I think you got that point. So now we're here. Ta-da! We have a brand new little bambino. We're so happy about that. Let's start with in the hospital. We are so grateful that we are happy, healthy, ready to go home, and we're signing discharge papers. But who's reading those discharge papers? Who's reading all of the fine print and all of the consent that you're giving during that time? During that time. Who's consenting, and what are we consenting to? I would say it's a great idea to get a copy of those consent forms. Get a copy and look at what we're consenting to. Look at the final actions that are going on in the hospital that we're saying okay to before we're discharged. There is some talk that there's blood work and there's also some medications that are given to the infant before they're discharged. So those things are important to know. Then we move to the next level 3 weeks later, where it's immunization time. So just be mindful and know what is necessary, what may not be necessary, what you have choices in, what you do not have choices in. Be mindful of all of that. And the long-term results of those decisions. The long-term results. That's important. So now they're home, we're having fun, they're growing up a little bit. Not the terrible twos yet, which, by the way, are not the terrible twos. The terrible twos I've really defined as, I have been watching you touch this and touch that for 2 years. Now that I'm up and walking and moving around and you don't have to hold my hand, I can now touch all of the things that I've seen you touch, because they learned from us. They learn from us. They don't know they're not supposed to touch those same things, that maybe they're too heavy for them to lift and carry, and then they break and fall, you know. But imagine being in, I'm going to say, a cage for a year, 2 years, and then finally you're out of the cage and you can run free. You can run wild. That's what's happening in that 1.5 to 2 to 3 year old. So be prepared to have a very clear conversation with that little one, and don't say no and slap their hands, because nobody slapped your hands when you touched it, and this is what they observed for 2 years. Say not now. Say be careful. Say it's too heavy. Be very clear in explaining what you want them to understand. And you're protecting them, of course, and your items at the same time. You're protecting them, but it's how you protect them. It's what you share with them. It's what you tell them, because that's what's going to stick with them. I think you may have heard that between 0 and 5, that's where we learn the most. That base, that's where we learn the most. That's when our brains are very open and not very distracted, so much is going in. So be mindful of your language when you're speaking to the young people, and even after 5. Be careful of your language, because what you say and how you say it is going to stick with them until they're our age. If you're an adult listening to this, until they're our age. And how they process that information at a young age is how they're going to react with it as they grow older. Okay. Hachoo! Hachoo! Your baby has the sniffles. I wasn't really sneezing. Don't bless me. It's okay. Thank you. No. Your baby has the sniffles, has a sneeze, has a cold, has congestion. You take the baby to the doctor. What does the doctor give the baby? Antibiotic, antiviral, augmentin, amoxicillin, hopefully not tetracycline, but maybe. They're giving them something that's supposed to relieve their symptoms. That's supposed to relieve their symptoms. Well, antibiotics, here's a little bit of a lesson. Antibiotics, well, it's anti, so anti means against, right? So antibiotics kills bacteria, and so that's why it's being given. So the hachoo, so that could all stop. Well, along with killing the bad bacteria, those antibiotics are also killing the good bacteria. The good bacteria. And if that good bacteria is not replaced, then you have long-term effects. And here are a few. The good bacteria in our gut helps to create the chemical to regulate our behavior. Really? Yes, really. And when you're giving an antibiotic to a child and even to an adult, the good bacteria is being killed and not replaced. In a child, if that continues, and we care about these children. We care. You care about these children. So they're our children. They're our babies. We care. So we're doing what we were taught to do. Long term, children are diagnosed with attention deficit disorder and given a replacement for that chemical that good bacteria would have produced if it was still present. If it wasn't killed off so much during that antibiotic time, that good bacteria would have created the chemical to regulate the behavior, the attention, the understanding, the control. It would have been there. So, be mindful. Be mindful. And what can you use instead? Natural antibiotics work very well because you want to increase the immune system's ability to fight off what's ever coming. So increasing the immune system's ability to fight whatever is coming into your body, whatever foreign agent is causing the achoo, achoo, right? We have the mushrooms, excellent for building your immune system. We have krill. Cod liver oil is something we used to be given as kids. So nasty it was. So healthy we were. It was so nasty. So the cod liver oil, the fish oil, then these are natural things. The mushrooms. I mean, they have a combination of mushroom powders you can get now that you can use instead of coffee or tea. You can use the mushrooms and make a nice hot beverage. You could even add it to your soup. No taste whatsoever in terms of, it doesn't change the taste of what you add it to. Mushrooms almost are like neutral in taste. They're not neutral in texture if you're eating it that way, but as a powder, it's pretty neutral. So you can add it to almost anything to get the positive effects of your immune system being built up. The mushroom powders are also good against cancer cells, free radical cells. They say the shiitake and the maitake mushrooms causes cancer cells to commit suicide. I like that idea because I would think that cancer cells are probably the worst enemy in a body. Right? The worst enemy in the body. So if it takes care of that, it probably takes care of everything else beyond that. But keeping the immune system built up. You don't want to suppress a cough with cough syrup. You don't want to suppress it. You want all of that stuff to come out. So you want to break it up and let it come out. And I always suggest to people to take a mild laxative when you are fighting something. Like when I say fighting it, I mean you're taking all the natural things to help get it out. The garlic is good for colds. Most of the cruciferous vegetables, garlic, ginger, broccoli, cabbage, onions. And if you think back, your parents probably used, or your grandparents probably used a lot of these things when you were sick. Onions will break a fever. You know, you don't need Tylenol to break a fever. Acetaminophen. I couldn't say that word forever. But, you know, onions will break a fever. Ginger will break a fever. We used to even get rubbed down in alcohol to break a fever. So you want to watch what goes into the body, because what goes into the body could really and truly affect long-term results mentally, physically, and then emotionally and socially. So I'm going to take a break right now just to see if anyone has any questions, any comments based on what you've heard. By all means, the floor is open. Any questions? Anyone have any questions? Any comments? Are you familiar with, and if not what I mentioned, do you know of some of the things that maybe your parents or your grandparents used when you were a child? Because we want to make sure our children are healthy and that their health is sustained so that long-term conditions don't exist. And we want to be happy too as parents. We don't want our babies, our children sick, nor us. So do you have any home remedies that your parents or grandparents used for you? Anyone? Okay, so we're going to move a little further and talk about the adolescents. So we have our babies, we're going to protect their gut. We have our toddlers who are running around touching everything they can get their hands on because they're exploring life, and that's what we want them to do. Our adolescents, well now, again, there are those agenda protocols that are suggested, recommended, and I guess mandated in order for our children to attend public school, period and done. I think if it wasn't for these things being mandated for our children to attend public school, we may think differently about them, and we may hesitate on allowing these things to be used. But our adolescents are they're given these things to help protect them from diseases, disorders that we were always taught would normally come from certain behaviors. But they're now given as a prophylactic. They're given as a just in case. They're given as, as a means of control. Oh, shoot. I said it. As a means of control. That's why they are given these things. But I never see the side effects listed of these mandated items. I never see the side effects like listed on the news and the magazines that we get. The auctioneer who comes on can cause, and then the commercial is over. We don't see that. But we know we do see behaviors and choices and ideas that are coming from our young people across the world that are very similar, though these young people are not related, so it's not DNA and genetically connected, right? They're not related, so it's not like we have the same mother and father in Kentucky, but yet the same things, gravitating toward the same ideals. And I don't know, am I the only one who sees common denominators and know that there must be a common denominator in these behaviors and these conditions and these choices that are being made by our young people, that are being made and accepted? Some are making them, some are accepting and adapting to them. Am I the only one who sees there's a connection with no real, live, again, DNA and genetic connection? So there has to be another one in another way. There has to be something that's blanketly allowing these things to happen. I'm just saying. All right? I'm just saying. So our infants, our children, when I was 12, and I always use that as my age. It must be true. But when I was 12, I'll say between 11 and 13, I came to a belief that the prenatal item that is given to moms is the culprit for a lot of the childhood disorders, permanent disorders, as it was, because it was happening again across the board, same age groups of young people, children, who were not genetically or DNA related. So I said then there has to be a common denominator. And when I looked at that item in the inner city neighborhoods being this large orange pinkish colored pill, and in other neighborhoods by the same company it was smaller than a one a day, well, it confirmed it for me. It confirmed it for me that as it is a scientific design, it is all by design. All by design. So I recommend to people who are planning family that when that happens, find a natural, all natural, multivitamin that really we might need to still be taking, or double up on your juices and your vegetables and your smoothies of good health, because that's all it's supposed to be doing, is giving you that extra dose, since you're carrying a fetus. That's all it's supposed to be, is just the extra dose for a healthy baby, right? But I'm just saying. And again, I will open it up if anyone has any comments, questions, but really any comments you'd like to make so far. Companies that they're listening to. We are on the Grown Folk Talking That's what we're on. We have over 19, maybe 20 shows now on this network. At 7 a.m. every morning, there's a prayer call. You can call in to 520-525-8633. And you can also download the app or go in online on huddle, huddle.team, like baseball team, huddle.team, and the meeting ID is grownfolk, grownfolk, grownfolk. It's a variety of shows. I always say we are not variety shows, but there are a variety of shows, show topics, great understanding, great information, open dialogue. We profess not to know it all, but know enough to bring to you and allow we can all learn again from each other. We can all learn from each other. I'm not sure if we have any of our show hosts on now, but if you are, if you'd like to announce yourself and your show time, feel free. Feel free. Okay. Call into that same number. And so actually when you call that number, you will hear the show lineup, but you will also hear possibly that your network charges you a penny a minute. If that is the case, you can text call me to that same number, 520-633, and you will get a call back. So text call me to that number, and you will get a call back. Okay? All right. Well, we're still here. Following my show on Mondays at 7 p.m., we have Slot Time with Star. And on the last Monday of the month, so I'm on Mondays from 4 to 6. The last Monday of the month, it's the King's Roundtable, hosted by Leon. And it is a men's-only support group. They are kind enough to open it up to the women on occasion, special occasion for special people to be a part of it. But it is a men's support group, and it provides that opportunity for men to share. So join. Again, listen to the complete show lineup. You can call in at any time. I believe it's going to tell you to announce yourself. So I always say do not, because depending on when you come on, if someone is speaking and you announce yourself, you will interrupt the speaker. You will have an opportunity to speak. You will have an opportunity to ask your questions. Most of the shows are just that, engaging, interactive, and there's that opportunity for you. So you do not have to announce yourself. Okay, again, I'll ask, are there any questions, comments? Do you have any home remedies that you recall your parents or grandparents using, or that you yourself may have come upon and yourself you use them? If you're watching this on YouTube, I do encourage you to make your comments. You can put your comments right in the comment section on my YouTube page, again, which is at Evadyne Smith, EVADYNE Smith 3986. Also, thank you for the YouTube idea in my head, right? Thanking myself in my head. There's also the Grown Folk Talking YouTube, where many of our shows are up on that network as well. So the YouTube channel is Grown Folk Talking, no S and no G at the end of talking. No S after folk, and no G after talking. Grown Folk Talking on YouTube. Many of our shows are going up little by little. It's kind of new. The YouTube is kind of new. We are in September of 2023. And depending on when you're listening to this, you're going to be like, oh my God, look at what they've done. Oh, they've so expanded. Watch us grow. Grow us. Grow us. So what do we say? We say like, share, subscribe, and ring that darn bell. What does ring the bell mean? Ringing the bell means that anytime something new goes up on the YouTube, you will get a notification. You will get a notification. So that's pretty good, right? Because you do want to be notified that we're talking. And since we're grown folks, you can listen. But yes, you can definitely make your comments as well. You can make your comments and share. You can go to my website, again, NetworkingForSuccss.info, and you'll find a lot of great stuff there, including, if you go to NetworkingForSuccss.info/promo, you will also be able to purchase my 2 books. I have 2 books in ebook form. We're running a promotion. You can get both books for $5. Oh, did you go yet? Oh, okay. I'm supposed to invite you to go. So, take a minute right now, everyone, and go to NetworkingForSuccess, FOR, NetworkingForSuccss.info, INFO /promo, and you'll see right there at the top, promo, $5 ebooks. Click on that. There you go. Okay, so you are going to get both books automatically. If you want to purchase more, send the email to the person you want me to send those books to. Send me the email. You can send it team follow me at yahoo.com, or you can put it into the shipping when you go to checkout. All of the checkouts are on PayPal. You'll see PayPal, right? Okay, so all of the checkouts are on PayPal. You do not need to have a PayPal account. You can just select pay with debit or credit and then follow it through. It's still going to kind of ask you for PayPal. You're just going to go to continue and you can complete your purchase. Very good. Very good. Now you can share this with your friends. This is also available as a fundraiser. If you have an organization or an association and you like to raise funds for it. And so the books are about mental and mind health and wellness and overall wellness. The books are about motivating, inspiring, and empowering individuals to live their best life, heaven here on earth. It is about helping people understand, and what I do is I demystify suicide. Some people find that hard to believe because they believe that suicide is a God-Satan issue. But it's not. It's not. As we were speaking about some of the items that are used on a programmatic level through a medicine, the side effects listed for many medications is sadness, depression, and suicidal thoughts, right? And so this is about health and wellness too. And that's why I bring it up, because nutrition, health, and wellness has been my passion, my thought since I was a kid. So I wasn't even thinking, it was just innately in me to be conscious, health conscious. And I truly believe that the more we know, literally, the more we can grow, literally. The more we know, the more we can grow. I see people post on social media, pray for my friend. My friend is in the hospital. Pray for me. No, tell us what the heck is going on, because on a platform as large as social media, 2 or 3 people may have some information that can change the condition. Because when you say pray for me, you're asking your higher power to protect you, to heal you, or your friend, right? Well, how do you think you're going to get the answer? Put that in the comment section, right? How do you think you're going to get the answer? How do you think you're going to get the help if it is not through humans? We're going to talk about the aliens right now. If it's not through humans, how do you think your higher power is going to send you your answer that you're asking for? Exactly. Exactly. So I say this book and our podcast network as well. We are giving you the answers to so many things. May not be your ask, It may be an ask for someone you know, and you may not know it yet. But the more you listen and gather information, when you come across that person who has that particular prayer in place, they're chanting or meditating on a level higher than us for certain things. When you get information and you start sharing, oh, you know what I heard today? Oh, you know what I read today? Oh, you know what I saw today? You have no idea you're bringing them the answer that they've been looking for. Does that make sense? I am accused. Watch that, Isaac Hayes. I stand accused. I stand accused of loving you too much. I do. And because I do love you too much, I want to share with you the information that I receive. I do want to share it. I have no idea where yes, I do. I was going to say I have no idea where I get it from, but I do. It's bigger than us. And we all are here for different reasons. Some of us for the same reasons, but we're all here specifically to do something. I am a receiver and a deliverer of information. No apologies. No apologies. So, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Someone said to me one day, you have the answer for everything. So I laughed and I said, tell me what the problem is with that. And if you tell me what the problem is, I'll give you an answer to that as well. Right? If the problem is I know too much, that's not a problem. The problem may be that you're not ready to receive what I know. And guess what? I don't know it. I don't know it. It is given to me. I'm like a pass through, right? It is given to me. My mother's doctors used to ask her, where did I study medicine? That's what they would ask her, where did I study medicine? Because of the conversations that we would have, they would go do their research, and then they would come back and tell her, okay. Because we're all here to learn from one another. You know what you know what you've been taught, but your teaching is not over. Your teaching is not over. It is so much bigger than us. So when we talk about health and wellness, it's on a physical level, it's on a spiritual level, and it's bigger than us. Do you know what I mean when I say it's bigger than us? Anybody? I'm asking for a friend. No, really, I am asking. And if you're watching this recorded on YouTube, please put it in the comment. And of course, again, you could always email me, teamfollowme@yahoo.com, teamfollowme@yahoo.com. If you don't know that song, Follow Me by Elias, use this device you have before you and find that song. Follow Me, FOLLOWME by Elias. I think it's ALYSS, Elias. I think it's ALYSS. Listen to those lyrics. It's why I love it. It's why my email is Team Follow Me. 1, I'm a team player. 2, I love those lyrics. Love the lyrics. But please, does anyone have any idea what I mean when I say it's bigger than us?
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jinaki Amunet. She is for the second half. Hello. Please, pray tell.
Yeah, so when I hear it's bigger than us or bigger than you, I tend to think about how we're droplets as individual vessels. We're droplets in an ocean, right? And when we move together, we can create a huge wave in that ocean. We create a huge body of home water space or aquatic space for animals and creatures and things of that nature. So when I hear it's bigger than you, I think of the macrocosm and the interdependent relationship that we have with one another, and how every decision that I make, even if as one drop of water, any decision that I make to fall in this direction or to move in that direction will cause a ripple in the entire ocean, and it will impact the entire ocean. Also, I hear the concept as being a form of selflessness and understanding that even though we do have our nuances and our own independent, unique lives that may be, inculcated with challenges or adversity or however you identify with it as, we still have to understand that individuals that are coming into our universe are not necessarily maybe attacking us. It doesn't have to always be personal. Maybe that individual may be going through something themselves, and trying to look at the world through a collective worldview versus just an individual worldview. That's my interpretation.
I thank you for that, and I declare what a perfect question and a perfect answer, and a perfect segue into introducing you and giving you the opportunity to share with our listeners and our viewers, those who are watching, what it is that you do, what your goals are, what the purpose is, and why you chose or why you feel you were chosen in this area. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me on. Thank you for inviting me to this platform, to your platform of innovated or innovation when it comes down to wellness. I know that we are in the information stage, and a lot of people in the technology stage where a lot of people tend to gravitate to or appeal to being on devices and utilizing them for entertainment purposes. But I love that you're utilizing this platform, this technological platform, to do something of substance, to encourage people to work at looking within. And I really, really resonated with what you said earlier when you said finding heaven on earth, and acknowledging that aspect in our lives so that way we can really just enjoy our lives to its fullest. So that pretty much leads me into who and what I am and what I do. Again, my name is Jinaki Amunet. My government name is Jinaki Kelly Watts, and I am the daughter to Patricia Gwendolyn Watts, Tyrone Sigmund Watts. I have two older sisters, and I'm married to a beautiful man by the name of Ushindi, and I'm a mother of three amazing, radiant sons, Fatah, Khafre, and Wisdom. So I just wanted to start off with that, just to give you a little bit of background on my person. But what really motivated me to even begin the quest of holistic wellness was just finding balance within myself. I've always had experiences as a child fluctuating between feeling stressed or feeling happy, feeling angst and feeling sad or having sorrow, or feeling ecstatic and elated. But I was wondering, why there were moments where I would feel like I got stuck in feeling sad or feeling upset about something. And my father, at a very young age, introduced me to Zen Buddhism and meditation. And ever since then, I have had an affinity for it because I saw how profound controlling your breath is in regards to your emotions. And then as I got older and started to walk the life as a woman, and gone through several rites of passages, whether it be becoming a wife or becoming a mother of 2 and a mother of 3, those rites of passages were serious. Those are life-changing experiences, and they helped me to identify some of the unfinished work that I swore I had already accomplished from childhood. And when I got a chance to be exposed to these shadows, a lot of people refer to it as shadow work, but just really unresolved energy that I maybe have swept under the rug or avoided. When I had an opportunity to be exposed to those shadows, I started to, it required me to have some type of foundation in my breath, because without it, then the anxiety and the panic attacks come up, or the shame and the blame comes up. Well, as I'm moving through life and becoming this woman and being confronted with my older self and old habits, I realized that everybody needs a guide. Everybody needs a blueprint, so to speak, for life to help them to cultivate their higher potential. And the higher potential is what I mean by that is when I'm saying the potential to be able to flow between peace and pleasure, despite the circumstances, the ability to discern and choose how you're going to respond to circumstances instead of being reactionary, the ability to detach yourself from standards or societal standards and start to define who and what you are in regards to the universe and in regards to the environment and in regards to exactly science itself. And I'm saying all that to say that my motivation in this journey of self-actualization and self-awareness has led me down a path to want to help others. So I am definitely versed in being a breath coach. I've been studying it for 10 years plus. I am also a Qigong instructor, and Qigong is energy work cultivation, is a ancient Chinese practice that has both martial and medicinal modalities to it.
Your call has been disconnected.
Uh-oh.
Returning to your message center. To repeat this message, press 1. To save it, press 2. To delete it, press 3. To
I'm not sure what happened. I got disconnected. I don't know. There was did you hear that just now, or was that?
I did, like someone was trying to call something.
Oh, okay. Right, exactly.
It didn't break you off.
Oh, okay. So,
thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, and just to start to wrap things up, yes, I teach Qigong. I'm a Qigong instructor. I do meditation and breath work with a group of ladies in my community. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, Baltimore County specifically, but the group that I have organized was sheerly off of the idea of me desiring more self-care for myself as a woman and as an African-American woman in this society. I feel like I was being pulled in so many different directions that I wasn't taking care of my physical well-being. So I ended up organizing this group called the Blue Lotus Tribe, and this is a group of sisters who come together every other Sunday. We meet outside to commune with the elements in nature, earth, air, fire, water, and we commune over at a park called Drew Hill Park. And there we undergo a series of release, a series of receiving, breath work, Qigong, Kemetic yoga, and also sensual dance moves, because I'm not the only one who helps to facilitate this group. I have a couple of other soul sisters that support me in this endeavor as well. But it's a free group. It's all about wellness and self-care and remembering to ground your energy before you can outpour, because that's traditionally what we do as women. We tend to pour out until we become empty, and then we have nothing else to give, not even to ourselves, not to our families or anyone. So self-care was a major motivating factor for me to even establish this group. I hope that answered your question.
It did. And, you know, I always remember when Oprah first started, her naysayers were saying, oh, every time I turn around, Oprah's talking about herself. She experienced this and she experienced that. And I always say, start with who? Start with you. Right. And so I appreciate your story because you started with you. It was self-realization and identifying the need to become your better self. Correct?
Correct.
That's important. Self-care, self-love. We're going to open it up for questions, and male and female. If you're on here and you're listening in, if you have any questions for her and you're listening to this recorded, you will give your information where people can contact you. Is that okay?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that will allow you to get the information you need. And if you're not in the Baltimore area, again, I love COVID because it taught us the power of virtuality. Mm-hmm. There's so many, globally, we can access anything we want and need, which wasn't new, but the pandemic taught us how accessible it is to us now. So I'll open up the floor if anyone has any questions for Jinaki. Anyone? Any questions? And again, so can you, okay, I asked questions. Does anyone have any questions before I begin asking questions? Okay, so explain Qigong, right? Qigong.
Sure. Yes, Qigong. Yeah, so Qigong is a Mandarin word, or Mandarin words, and it means energy. Qi is energy, or the life force. And the life forces, you can look at it, you can say that it's similar to the atom, the power of an atom. And our atom has an electromagnetic field. There's electrons, there's protons, there's a neutron or nucleus in the center. So basically, Qi is all things in existence, all things that have come to physical existence, or even the subtle things that are invisible, because there's such thing as air Qi as well. So anything that is that we can experience with our senses, with our higher intuition, all of those things are Qi. And then Gong is a Mandarin word that means work, or skilled work and cultivation. So when you hear the word Qigong together, it can translate into energy work or energy cultivation. And I like to say energy cultivation more than energy work, because cultivation tends to denote the step-by-step process, a systematic process that is attempting to reach a new height. When you think of cultivating a garden, you're thinking of tending to its weeds, pulling the weeds from the soil, or stimulating the soil, or feeding the nutrients in the soil, and watering the plants as they continue to evolve and grow until they reach their maximum potential. And then that cycle repeats itself because at some point when the lifespan of that flower begins to transform back to the source, the minerals and the ingredients that the soil was made up of, it descends back into the earth only to be reborn again. So cultivation is like a cipher, but it is a very purposeful cipher, and it's strategic in a way that we are acknowledging the science behind our physical body and in nature, and also even identifying with our spiritual body. And I really don't necessarily separate spiritual from physical too much, but just for the sake of interpretation, it might be better to explain it this way. But in essence, our spiritual body and our physical body is designed in such an immaculate way that some divine intelligence decided that this is how it was going to be, and then there was a reason for it. It wasn't just arbitrary. It was a design for the purpose of us to come into existence and to find our way through life and learn and grow and evolve and enjoy the journey. So Qigong is a practice in cultivating and raising our energy up, and also restoring our energy, because sometimes as batteries we can get a little burnt out when we exert too much energy. So it's a way to restore and replenish that energy through proper breathing, full abdominal proper breathing, and also movements that align our body with nature and align our body with the anatomy with itself. Like our spine is supposed to be erect, and there are times when we may arc our back, but making sure that we're aware and we're intentional with each movement. So it helps to foster mindfulness, breath control, and it also strengthens the body and the immune system because it helps to massage and stimulate the lymphatic system. It helps to reduce blood pressure, high blood pressure, and it also helps to de-stress our bodies, because we tend to be, constantly on as humans in this fast-paced culture, and the movements are very fluid because the objective here is to soften our physical bodies. I think I'll try to turn my video on too. Oh yeah, there I am. Hi, peace. So the goal is to soften the body, because when you soften your body becomes more receptive to receive the energy around it. And you will become more sensitive to other people's feelings. But that's that compassionate element of ourselves that sometimes lays dormant in such a ego-driven society. So softening the body to receive through fluid movements like Tai Chi. If you've seen Tai Chi movements, a lot of people are moving very slow and deliberate, and they're very mindful of each motion that they do, and there's a purpose for each motion that they are flowing into. While Qigong is actually the great-grandfather of Tai Chi, and Qigong is such a profound practice that there are people that are utilizing it in the medical industry to actually heal and reverse cancer with healing sounds, breath work, movement, slow meditative movements or walking Qigong, diet. So, and even visualization. There's a lot of visualization in Qigong as well once you get a clear diagnosis of what the client might be experiencing. So it has a heavy, heavy history in treating a lot of adverse medical conditions and pathogens, and it definitely has made an impact on my life and all of the women that I'm able to work with that have experienced it. When they use it consistently, they see a difference, they feel a difference, and they're able to just embrace life a lot better.
That's awesome, and I was going to ask you about lymphatic cleansing, if it could help with that, and then you just came out and mentioned it, so I love connection, I love connection. Thank you very much. Does anyone have, again, any questions for Jinaki? So here on our network, we have Let's Heal the World with Sister Nabiha, and she is a Reiki practitioner and an herbal or essential oils. She's a specialist in essential oils, and I really love listening to all of the natural ways of staying well, first and foremost. That's the key. Staying well in and out, and then becoming better with your health through knowledge. Becoming better. Kinetic yoga, what is the difference between kinetic yoga and, I'm going to say, traditional yoga?
Right. Good question. So Kemetic is Kemetic with an M, but kinetic actually has something to do with it as well, kinetic energy. But Kemetic yoga is based in ancient Kemet, which is also known as Egypt, ancient Egypt, by the Greeks. However, when more in-depth research has been done, there was that part of the land that we classify as Egypt was classified as Kemet, and this is thousands of years ago. But this particular practice can even be found on a lot of the pyramids and Egyptian temples, and there's a lot of images of women and men doing a lot of the yoga poses. So Kemetic yoga is just really affirming a history that was originally aligned with African culture, and it's just acknowledging that there were ancient African Egyptians or Kemetians who practiced this work long time ago, before people in China or India started practicing it. So it's not to say that I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone else, but it is a way to affirm our culture, and the names of some of the postures and some of the poses are a little different. And then some of the postures are similar to traditional yoga, but they just have different terminologies and different meanings. But in a nutshell, it's all about finding a way to yoke, because yoga literally means yoke, to bring together and reunite, or at least bring to our awareness the union that already always exists, right, between our physical self, our spiritual self, and our emotional self. And it teaches people to learn how to be very flexible despite their comforts. So yoga pushes the agenda to breathe through discomfort. And of course, you're going to discern what's uncomfortable and what's just unreasonably uncomfortable. But there's strategic postures that encourage people just to breathe through the posture and learn more flexibility, because I'll use this analogy really quick. If you were in a car accident and you tense up your body as the impact of the collision happens, you can easily break, right? You can break a bone, you can shatter bones, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna bang and hit the dashboard harder with your body being tense and hard. But if you were in a major car collision, if you were to relax, for example, I was in a car accident and I was sleeping. So I was sleeping, I was so relaxed that I barely got scathed. My sister, who was awake and cringed, her collarbone was shattered. So that was a lesson back then. This was in high school. But it just reminds me of the power of being soft and being flexible, and our ability to be resilient, and to also just be able to adapt to any major force that may be coming to, confront us. So yoga definitely helps you to learn how to become more flexible and more apt to embrace any challenge that comes your way without you breaking, metaphorically and literally.
Thank you. I appreciate that information. And I just want to ask, so where I was positioned, which is right near the Barclays Center, the beginning of your explanation of the differences between the two yogas, on my end, it sounded very metallic. So I'm going to ask the listeners, did it come through that way for you, or was Jinaki very clear? Can someone please tell me? Okay, I'm not hearing anything from anyone. Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't know if you've ever heard that metallic sound. So it's like you're talking in a tunnel. So hopefully it was very clear.
I can reiterate. Am I coming in clear right now?
Oh no, you are perfect. Yes, it was so I actually had to change devices because of that. Because when you said you saw me, I was like, but I don't see her. So okay, there's something wrong. So if you don't mind, I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, I don't mind at all. So basically, I was saying that the major difference that I understand is that it's affirming a historical viewpoint of the originators of yoga. And I was mentioning that Kemet is the name of ancient Africa, or ancient Egypt, which is located in Africa, not the Middle East, but in Africa. And I mentioned that, and the reason why I affirm that is because, number one, I am a descendant of Africans, and it is part of my culture to acknowledge my ancestors, and the ancestors that are carved in so delicately on the temple walls in ancient Kemet, showcasing brown-complected men and women doing yoga postures, resonates with me, and it's empowering for me to be able to teach that to my children as well, as a homeschool advocate and African-centered homeschool advocate. So I'm saying that to say that, yes, I embraced Kemetic yoga because on my studies on yoga, I discovered that it didn't just start in India. You know, the traditional Hindi practices, they learned from the Dravidian Indians, and the Dravidian Indians learned from ancient Kush and also ancient Kemet. So there are some similar, very, very similar postures, and then there also are some unique postures that are usually only seen in the Kemetic yoga. So I was also talking about the importance of even the word yoga, and how yoga is really a universal practice, and it's forever evolving. I mean, I'm sure there's nothing really new under the sun, and people are always learning and growing and evolving, and nobody owns anything. Like, I definitely don't want to present my perspective that way. I'm not saying that Africans own it, just saying that when I was digging a little deeper, I was able to see where some of the origination of yoga came from, and then how they also practice it in conjunction with how it's being practiced now. It is a multidimensional practice, and it is a key to bring or yoke together mind, body, and spirit and soul for the purpose of wellness. And once we are well within ourselves, we're able to share that with each other.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you sharing your information with us. And again, I'll open the floor. Are there any questions at all?
Okay, let me.
Okay. So on our thank you again so very much. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Be willing to share, and again, we are pretty nationwide with our viewers and our listeners. What information can you give them that would help them to contact you if you could help them? If you do consultations, I don't know if that's like something that you can do with what you're practicing. If consultations are available, then you can direct them and guide them to someone else. It looks like someone wants to speak. Is that correct? Okay. All right. So someone came on. I didn't know if they had a question. I didn't want to interfere with that. So yes. So if there's any, so you can tell us. You can tell us if there.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Well, my email address is listed right underneath my name there, janaki.k.hatcher@gmail.com. If you have any interest in learning more about Qigong, breath work, and Kemetic yoga, you most certainly can contact me via that email address. Also, we are the Blue Lotus Tribe, my soul sister group. It's about 30 of us right now, and we just literally started in June. So we're growing every session that we have. We're beginning a chakra series at the park where we are going to hone in on each chakra, starting with the root chakra, and work at practicing seed mantras. We'll have Tibetan singing bowls in the note of each chakra. Everybody's going to come in their colors. We're going to also do some fasting, some journaling, and just some great healing energy work, bonding, connecting, releasing. That event actually starts this upcoming Sunday. That is September the 17th. And we meet at Druid Hill Park in Baltimore City, right near the Rawlings Conservatory. There's a garden to the right, and then there's a big grassy space to the left of that conservatory. The conservatory is absolutely beautiful, too. I advise you to, if you are in Baltimore, or even if you're not in Baltimore and you just want to take a look at it online, pull it up. It is absolutely gorgeous. They have all types of foliage and trees and botany from all around the world in this space to showcase the diversity of plant life and the abundance of plant life. So it also, another thing that I was going to showcase or at least inform everybody of a wellness event that's coming up. It's something that I have been graced, or somebody extended this offer to me and this opportunity to me this year, and I'm so, so thankful. Her name is Sister Ujima, and Sister Ujima is the founder and coordinator of the Brothers Who Can Cook, Sisters Who Can Burn chefing series, which is something that has happened for the past 13 years in Baltimore City. This year, it'll be held at the UV Blake Center on October the 21st. In addition to this chefing series, there will be, well, basically, let me explain what the chefing series is. Hold up. So the chefing series is a team of chefs. Some of them are very well known in the community. Some of them are actually prominent chefs that are known on TV and have traveled the world. Some of them have their own restaurants. They're all coming together, and they're going to showcase their cuisine, and everyone can come around and do some taste testing. In addition to them getting fed, they also are going to offer fed traditional food. They'll be also fed a vegetarian cuisine this year. So this year, Sister Ujima has launched an interest in being more health conscious with the way that we are feeding our bodies with physical food, and then also spiritual food. And she asked or invited me and my soul sister, Shanta Frazier, who is a massage therapist and reflexologist, and that's just the name of her. She's a nutritionist. And then two other soul sisters, Monica Devon, who is a curator and creator of the Ma'at Temple in Baltimore. And then she also is a member and a facilitator and supporter of Queen Afua, Sacred Women. And then last but not least, my soul sister Courtney, who I met about 2 years ago at a martial arts class that we were taking together, and she has just been such a breath of fresh air. She keeps us grounded. She's very, very chill, very relaxed. And she also teaches dance therapy in Baltimore City once a month. It's called Pan-African Pulse. So it gets that cardio going. She's like the fire of the group. So I'm saying all that to say that we are us four, which is earth, air, fire, water. We are each one of those elements too, all the way. We are curating a wellness floor at the UV Blake Center at this Chefing Series, and it will be on the 4th floor. This wellness floor is going to knock your socks off. You're going to come up the elevator and become engulfed or enveloped with aromatherapy. Your ears are going to hear tranquil music, Tibetan singing bowls. There will be sound bathing. There will be workshops on wellness, communication and relationships. There will be a team, actually a couple who does couples therapy. Their names are Sacred Opportunities, or their business is called Sacred Opportunities. It's Cindy and Kenda. They are a dynamic couple who even help to foster a dynamic and powerful relationship between myself and my husband now. So I know that their work is divine and effective, but they're going to also come through and they're going to give their spin on healing and wellness around man and woman relationships. So it's going to be I talked about reflexology. There will be Reiki. There will be an empath, if anybody is open to empath readings. There will be crystals and jewelry that's made out of sacred crystals, healing crystals. It's going to be jam-packed, but it's not going to be jam-packed in a negative way. It's going to be an abundance of wellness and just showcasing what is available in Baltimore City and supporting the movement of healing thyself, supporting the movement of healing each other. Because when you work on self, you are inevitably affecting and impacting those around you. So I hope to see you guys come out for the Shopping Series. The tickets will go on sale. You'll see if you can find the tickets on sale on Eventbrite. You'll also see advertisements come on Facebook and Instagram come September the 15th. Tickets will be officially on sale. It's $25 per ticket, and it's an event you're not going to want to miss. So that's about it.
So, again, it must be me, because as you were describing all of the services, describing coming off the elevator and just being in a different place, I was feeling it. I was like, okay, this is going to work well. And this is something that young people should also be exposed to, because, again, they are our future, and we want their bases to be so in place so that they're moving in the right light and the right direction. That's a wonderful event, because, again, a lot of times people say, oh, I heard about this, but I don't know where. Oh, I heard about this, but I don't know where. Well, for Baltimore, you're going to let people know this is where and this is how, and there are no more excuses, and depending on where you live and how you live, you can even get to it if you need it. People travel to other countries to have breast reduction and butt lifts. So if they can travel to other countries for that, then we can make our way to where the services you need to be the better you are, you can get there. You can get there. And then connecting across the board, like I mentioned, Sister Nabiha, when you talk to people who are not in your specific area, to have a network of qualified and quality, I'm going to say practitioners and healers, and be able to say, well, I'm not in your area, but you can go here. That's creating a different kind of PPO, That's creating a very holistic network that is dedicated, each person dedicated in their specific area to making you the best that you could be. I really appreciate this time with you. I really do.
I appreciate it too.
Call in and listen to our show lineup. I heard a lot of what you were saying. We have many shows on here that are about elevating the consciousness of deeply melanated people, because everyone is melanated. It's just the level of melanation, right? So we have, on Friday night, I forgot the first word, but it's about eliminating systemic racism through education. But there's a word before that I said 150 million times. But that's at 8 p.m. That's at 8 p.m. on Fridays with Mr. Sanford Williams, who actually launched in Newark, New Jersey, way back when, at Weequahic High School, a Black History curriculum that no one else had ever done. And so he has impacted so many people during his almost 18 years of teaching. And many of them will come on his show or refer others to come on who are feeling in that same light. And then we have Brother Bay on Sundays at 5 p.m., Knowledge is the New Power, and it's about elevating the nation of a separate nation within this nation for the Moors. And there's a whole lesson in understanding the Moor nation.
The Moor nation. I love it. Both ways.
So, it's really great. Again, yes, there's a wealth. There's Beat Cancer Answer with Carl. They're actually cancer coaches. They're cancer coaches, leaning more toward the holistic approach and the soul and spirit approach to healing. Many people don't know there's cancer coaches, similar to doulas, so it's called Beat Cancer Answer, and I think their website is beatcancer.org.
Okay.
So, and I'm not, we have a lot of shows, but I'm just trying to think of the shows that fit into the practice of healing us, elevating us, educating us. And again, someone mentioned the other day on our platform, it's not a black or white issue because we're all in this world together. No one chooses prior to conception who they want to be. You're created and then you're born, but it's what you do after that makes all the difference in the world. And again, as we see with albinos, you have no idea. Not talking about anyone, but let it not be your skin color, but your level of humanity, your understanding. I saw a video on probably TikTok where this young man was almost in deep tears, anguish that he had been lied to all these years about this country and their position in the country. And he was, as they say, Caucasian. He was like my uncle said after he watched Hidden Colors. I had given him the Hidden Colors DVD, right? He said, I wish I was young. I wish I was young, because he wanted to go fight. This young man, if he was bewitched and he could eliminate all the lies and all the liars, he would have done that with just a snap of a finger.
Right.
But there's been a lot of miseducation, and everyone is hurt by it. Everyone is hurt by it. But when it comes to healing, and that's the other question, I hear a lot of people through our shows, and then there's another network as well, where people they're hurting due to trauma that they experienced and or caused, but they want to heal. Your practices can help with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So when we think about trauma is a extreme emotional experience that the human body undergoes given a specific circumstance or chain of events. And the emotions become imprinted so deep on the psyche and in the spirit that it manifests itself unconsciously, whether it be night terrors, sleep interruptions, insomnia, and now you have fears of even going to sleep because you keep replaying the same scenario over and over again, or the avoidance of life itself, not being bold or courageous enough to face life. So there's fears that limit your access to opportunities when trauma gets involved. So yes, meditation, transcendental meditation, which is one of the core practices in breathwork, is very, very aligned or extremely aligned with healing trauma. And the reason why is because it deals with going into the subconscious or the part of the consciousness that's just unseen that tends to act out or expose itself if it's triggered. But it's quote unquote out of our control. A lot of times those responses come out when we're not anticipating them, and they'll manifest themselves as anxiety. They'll manifest themselves as depression. They'll manifest themselves as panic attacks. They can manifest themselves in just even being physically abusive to ourselves, to others, angered. It basically stems in learning how to breathe. So a lot of psychologists or psychiatrists, they tend to use a lot of going back to your childhood practices. They'll have you lay out on a bed and focus on traumatic experiences that you've had, and then they'll remind you while you're experiencing that trauma to breathe, to relax. And that is a way to train the body and train the mind to let go. But there's a lot of danger associated with that, and there are some instances where people actually get lost in that experience and end up reopening wounds that they thought were somewhat healed, and psychosis can come about. So it is really important to understand how the science of the self and understand how the brain and the mind works. And I'm not sure if the West has found a theory or a practice that is in complete alignment with that, but I do know that a lot of ancient practices helps with connecting with the trauma through breathing, through visualizations. But the focus isn't the trauma, so to speak. The focus, there's a touching of the trauma, but there's not a focus. Like the focus doesn't take center stage on the trauma. The focus, or what takes center stage, is how you would have wanted to respond and what way should you have responded in the sake of living righteously, right? So there's a whole framework that's associated with that. In the ancient Kemetic practice, they call it the Pa'ut Netaru, which is the observance of the 11 laws of God. But these 11 laws are really literally just desires that all humans, universal desires and principles that all humans have propensity for. So with acknowledging these different laws, like unity, knowledge or wisdom, spiritual power, intuition, and just even understanding what love is and what it means to even have self-love before you can go and love someone else, and how love is a verb. You show it. People feel it and they experience and experience it. There's this really great, delicate framework that's designed by some of our ancestors from Africa that help to be a great foundation for understanding the morality of life, right? And that will help the person who is dealing with trauma to acknowledge, well, should I have waged war on this person, or what did I really want to happen? I wanted there to be peace. I didn't want to have to experience this, but even in experiencing this, how can I choose to respond? And then the visualization, the breathing happens, the meditative scripts happen, and the person starts to rewrite their narrative, so to speak, to reshape their thought process in relationship to that experience that they had. And the experience no longer becomes, or is no longer identified as trauma. It becomes just an experience. And that experience, what lesson did you learn? How did you grow? How did you evolve? What can we be grateful for? And how can we ensure that other people don't have to endure this particular type of experience? And if they do, because life sometimes is unavoidable, if they do, these are the tools that they can use to push through and to become resilient and bounce back from it. Because victimization is a huge element in our stuckness or our stagnancy. Like when we get into a state of, oh, I was victimized, oh, I was helpless, oh, I couldn't control the situation, we tend to continue to reopen the wound and dig into that wound, and there isn't any real healing happening. So yes, meditation, visualization, breath work, and even the meditative movements through Qigong help to relieve that tension that builds up in the tendons and in the ligaments of the body that usually fuels hatred and animosity and anger toward whatever the trauma was. And it just helps to put the person who experienced that experience in the seat of control and driving their own vehicle into a space of peace and acceptance so they can continue to evolve.
That is so beautiful. And so I'm not sure if you know, I have 2 books on the market.
Okay.
They are on mind and mental health, wellness, and overall wellness. And as I'm listening to you, I said, she don't know, but she read my book, and she's saying the same thing. But I am grateful to know that. So I take credit for being the writer, and I say my creator is the co-author of these books.
I know that's right.
You know that's right. Thank you very much. Right? And so I know this. I know that I am a receiver and a deliverer, but I love when I engage in conversation, which is every day, all day, but when I engage in conversation and I hear from someone who know because they're actually practicing, that they know these are correct words that I am sharing. This is the correct direction that I'm leading people. Not that I question it, because again, I know my co-author, and people, they've read the book and they ask me, am I a psychologist? And I tell them by definition. Because long before you get the title, long before you get the stamp, not that I need it because I know, I also tell them the work has to be done. But I tell them that my co-author holds an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, and a DDIB, and that is, again, enough for me. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of your information, and I am so grateful that you were available to be here today. This is part 2 of a health and wellness. I didn't know it would be a part 2, but last week, health and wellness for the family, and women and children. And I tell people I'm an appetizer. The main table is right behind me. But I can give you a little bit of a lot because I know a little bit of a lot of things because I pay attention. And again, because my purpose in this book is to be a receiver and a deliverer of information. I hope to always be able to deliver it well and understood. You speak so many beautiful languages of our ancestors. I hear them when they come out of you. I speak English, but it's okay. I can learn the others, It's so much bigger. Your event, I should be able to attend. I will see if I can pull together a weekend trip. It is on a Saturday, correct?
Yes. It's October the 21st, which is a Saturday. I failed to mention the time. It's from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Yes, the Chefing Series / wellness. Wellness, I guess you call it holistic wellness, is going to be hosted and available to the public at that time. Yes, 12 to 5.
And that's at Druid Hill.
No, this is at the UB Blake Center. Now, the Blue Lotus Tribe Chakra Garden Series, that's at Druid Hill Park. Yes. That's where we meet bi-weekly, and it's every other Sunday. This upcoming Sunday we meet, and we're starting off with the root chakra. We're actually just launching our chakra series work. Everybody's to come in red. Everyone's to fast. And for that day, we're only to eat red food or root food that comes from, the earth directly, so root vegetables. And there will be a couple of other activities to do over the next 2 weeks where we'll do journaling, we'll do art therapy, we'll probably have a Zoom meditation session. So, yeah. So if anybody's interested, they can email me and I'll get them more information.
And so I can't see it. Okay, so that's bi-monthly, bi-monthly on Sundays, right? Mm-hmm. What are the hours?
So that's from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's an hour and a half that we get together and get in the work.
And can you slowly give your email because I'm not seeing it in the chat?
Oh, absolutely.
I like the way you mean it. Go ahead.
It's all about proximity.
That's right.
So it's JIN, N as in Nancy, AKI .K.Hatcher. That's HAT as in tiger, C as in cat, HER @gmail.com. That's the best way to reach out to me.
Thank you very
much.
Right
now, anyway.
No, that's fine. I do appreciate, your spirit, your time, and this is, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, today is the benefit of shopping at Trader Joe's, but knowing that spirits are alike. I met Jinaki at Trader Joe's. I entered a conversation that was being had by she and one of the Trader Joe associates, which is a friend, and here we are today. And everything happens the way it's supposed to, and the connections of human and the connection of spirit happens every single day. So everyone who's listening, I'll give you the link for the ebooks. They're in promotion. It's 2 ebooks for $5, book number 1 and book number 2. Book number 1 is titled Suicide is a Serious Killer. Let's End It Today. I say it's a statement and a call to action. I demystify suicide. This young lady says, why do you use that word? I said, because it's a mystery. I mean, people think they understand because they're just given information, but no one's really understanding it, so we're never, ever going to conquer it. Mm-hmm. Because the word suicide is such a hot word, I kept saying in my head, I need a softer title, but the same information, because my head is my co-author. We have that chit-chat on occasion, right? And so I was saying to someone one day, mind is to mental as teeth are to dental, and we all have a mind. And when I saw her expression, so 4 days I kept saying this, I need a softer title. I would hear in my head, it's right in front of your face. Then I would ask in my head, what's right in front of my face? Well, what was right in front of my face was people's expressions whenever I would make that statement. Mind is to mental as teeth are to dental, and we all have a mind. So that's the title of the second book. I'll give you, thank you. I'll give you,
okay.
I will give you the link for it is NetworkingForSuccss.info /promo. And I opened it up because in the sense of allowing organizations to raise money, and this is for the ebooks, allowing organizations to raise money, or anyone else who wants to raise funds, people have bills, that I can create a specific link for you or the organization, and $2 from every purchase will go to that entity. And the transparency of PayPal is to run reports so you can see exactly how many people purchased through your link. The goal is 1 million books into 1 million hands, hearts, minds, and homes. We need to change how people understand their minds. You know, we'll work on others once we get ours under control. But we all have a mind, and your state of mind could be the greatest. It could be fantastic and wonderful. It could be good. It could be not so good. It could be challenging. But if it's not so good and challenging, then you may need to see someone. That's when they transfer you to the mental health department. You know, we all have a mind, right? But the first title, because it was so hot, I call it now the baked potato. And the new title, I call it the potato salad. So I made potato salad out of the baked potato, softer title, 2,000 additional words. I don't know why I can't shut up, but it is so impactful and powerful. And I have in there much of what you said in terms of the trauma piece of dealing with life, dealing with what's going on from the inside out, and knowing that you give weight. I hear people talk about the incident that happened to them, and they talk about it with such passion. You're giving life to that. Even when people are telling a story about something that happened to them at work, but they'll tell that story for a year, you know, you keep giving life to something that really should have ended, but it's how you are feeling about it, the position that you put yourself in. So this is beautiful, and I am so grateful. I do have to, unfortunately, I hate to say goodbye, but I'm so glad we had this time together. But if there's anyone who has any final questions for Jinaki, and we have her information, this will go up on YouTube, and so I'll send you the link for it. I appreciate everything with us, and I have no idea it's right now in the background. If anyone has anything to say, the floor is open for about 2 minutes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, how you doing? This is Jay Sean.
Hey, Jay Sean, how are you?
I'm all right. I came in about the last 40 minutes of it, but I was listening. It's very informative. But I had once after I graduated in high school in like '81, I had went back to college like in 2013, long time, and I thought that I was like trying to find easy credits, so I seen it that it said yoga. So it's like, this seemed like it's easy. So I took a yoga class. Thought I was thinking it was going to be easy credits, but it was nothing like what I really thought it was. It was kind of physical, but mental.
Yes.
And if I don't know if I'm saying it right, but after a couple of weeks, I finally grew to understand it more, and then I really think that I started like understanding like what yoga really was and what it was meant for, and at first it really was I just thought I was gonna be doing something for easy credits, and it turned into to be something pretty good. I only did it for that one semester though, but it was a good experience for me.
That's awesome. May I ask you a question? What was your name again?
Yeah. Jay Sean.
Jay Sean. May I ask you a question about your experience? Like, what was good about it? Do you mind elaborating?
What was good after I started to understand like the stretching and the postures and the positions after, and then that along with the meditation and everything. Once I got it all coincide, it's like a mental thing. Like for me, like I kind of really understood more. But I think in the beginning, I was like, this like exercise or something to me. So it felt like it.
Right.
Because yoga is a lot of stretching too, right? That's the yoga you're talking about?
Absolutely.
Or you just talking about
No,
Yeah, okay.
it is. It's a lot of stretching, but it's not only just physical stretching, it's stretching of the mind. And I think that you did touch on that with your experience, that it was mental. It was a lot, and we tend to set mental barriers for ourselves that block our flexibility in life, emotionally, mentally, physically, psychologically. Like, we tend to create blockages because we say words like, I can't, or this hurts, or I'm scared, you know? So, yeah, there's a huge mental component to yoga, and I'm glad you had the experience. That's awesome.
At Passaic Community College in Paterson, New Jersey.
Okay.
Paterson. Yeah, so I took a semester of it. I never took another semester of it, but that one semester was a lifelong experience and lesson for me. It definitely was. Where I just thought I would be like going somewhere and sitting down and closing my eyes. That's what I pictured as yoga, like with my hands interlocked or my leg was crossed. Like, that's what I thought, but it was nothing like that. Let me tell you.
Right.
That's cool. You know, it's so funny. I think about that with martial arts. You know, I say people think it's just learning formation, but it's a lot of mental and spiritual involved in the martial arts and in yoga, because you have to bring yourself in to what it is that you're doing and feeling and releasing. It's an internal, external, internal process. And by the way, I don't do yoga. I've never done it a day in my life. But I'm just saying, for real.
You sound like you've done it.
Well, see, this is that me and my co-author thing. You know, a little bit of a little bit of a lot. But it's awesome. What I tell people, because of the way I dance, my sister's friends say, your sister dances to a different beat, and I do. I work out my muscles when I'm dancing, so I call it a fast Pilates, because I literally focus on the different muscles that I'm using in deliberately. I don't know if it's helping, but that's what I do when I dance. And it is a different beat. I'm not even thinking about a beat. I'm just doing something. It's really spiritual, like house music. House music to me is so connected to Africa. The drum beats and the way you see people moving, almost trance-like. It's so, to me, spiritual. Am I the only one that sees that?
No, it is very spiritual. It's blanketed in spirituality. They didn't have even a separation between the physical and the spirit. You know, like they saw that there was spirit water and spirit rocks and, you know, spirit matter. Everything was spirit. Everything was moving. Everything was energy, and everything had its purpose and was relevant and needed to be respected and revered because it existed. There was a lot of honoring of nature and a lot of honoring of the animals in nature, and then even rites of passages and evolution for men and women. Major rites of passages were revered. Even transitioning into the afterlife, there was a lot of acknowledgement and sacred ceremonies around that, to know that even though this physical being is gone, the energy still is dispersed and everywhere, and we will acknowledge them in libation and remember them so we can be wise in our movements on this planet. So it's yes, I'm with you on that one, sister. Absolutely.
Why, thank you. Again, I thank you so much, Jinaki. It has been a pleasure. It will continue to be a pleasure. My intent, strong, is to be at your events and to bring others with me. Did you attend the Sisters Gathering that was held in Maryland a couple of months ago? Were you familiar with it?
Was it the all-white gathering?
Yes.
Yes, so I was out of town. I was not available for that event, but I definitely heard about it. Did you attend that?
I did.
I
did. It was absolutely beautiful. It was
Mm-hmm.
real. It was revealing. The guest speaker was powerful,
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful, and she performed work on someone after the event. And
Wow.
when I heard that sister scream, her son died, and she
Mm.
never cried, and it had been years. And
Mm.
that speaker worked on her, like her chi and her chakra, and the yell that came
Mm.
out of her was so. Her son heard it. I know for a fact.
Right.
It was
Right.
like and it was needed. It was so
Yes.
needed, but it was. We didn't. I didn't. No one knew what was going on until we
Mm-hmm.
yelled, and because she and I had spoken, it was powerful. So we have to know we are electrical beings. That's what I believe. We are electrical beings, and we
Yes.
have covering. Some nice and some not so nice, but we have covering, and again, it's what you bring out of you. That's why, again, that whole white and black thing, we are electrical beings. It's
Mm-hmm.
about connecting, knowing your purpose, living your purpose, doing your purpose, and you could do a little more. But if you hone in on you will be your greatest. You will absolutely be your greatest. I thank you.
I thank you. I thank you. This is such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for welcoming me into your universe, into your space, into your podcast. And I definitely foresee us connecting again. I plan to purchase your book, your ebook, and I'm going to spread the word about your ebook. And I don't know if you want to sell them or showcase them or present something at our wellness event, but we'll talk offline.
It sounds great, and yes, we will talk. Thank you so much.
Take a shot.
And Jay Sean has a network, a podcast network. So tomorrow on his network, Keeping It Real, I co-host a show on finances. It's Let's Review. It's on finances, investment, and building wealth with insurance. And then his show, he actually has shows every day now, and that's on the Blog Talk. That number is 563-999-3718. Tomorrow's show on finances at 8 p.m. Jay Sean's show, Keeping It Real. It's an adult topic show, X or R or P or W. And that's on Fridays at 8 p.m. And Jay Sean, what are the other shows that are on your network? I think he's there still. Okay. And lastly, just in case you're going to come back, Jay Sean, is there anyone on who has a show on this network who would like to announce their show? And also, please come back again at 7 p.m. today, 520-525-8633, and that will be for Slot Time, hosted by Star, and 7 a.m. every morning is the prayer line. Is there anyone on who would like to announce their show? Okay, and Jay Sean, are you listening? Okay, so we are finished for today. Jinaki, I appreciate you. Do you have final words, Jinaki?
Sure. Well, I'm going to give thanks again to you for inviting me to speak and to share what it is that I have a huge passion for and propensity for. And I would like to leave everybody with acknowledging that breath is universal, does not have skin color. That's very true. Breath is universal, and everyone, and really peace and wellness is one breath away, literally. If we can start to align our breath and start to reshape our thinking, the mind has a huge impact on how we can show up here on this planet and how we can also start to shape our destiny. So just keep that in mind, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the Shuffling series and anybody that wants to come out for the Chakra series at Drew Hill Park. Peace and love, and again, thank you, my sister. You're mute.
You're absolutely right. Who would know? So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. This is Evadyne with Company, Talk Worth Listening To. I do hope that this talk was worth listening to. I wish you all a great every single day.